Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. How are you folks? I hope everyone's having a great day. We're leaving this sunny afternoon in the mean city of Philadelphia, and I mean mean in a good way, not a bad way, although there are a lot of mean, bad things happening in this city. Folks, how are you doing? I come to you today, folks, conflicted. But first, remember, folks, my book, $80 from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, is on Amazon. It is a 55-page book about the ins and outs of real estate, how I got here, what I've learned, my experience, and how you too can buy a property, just like I have, and acquired massive amounts of property that you can own yourself. So, folks, today, as many of you know, my daughter Penelope has been working for me for about over a year now. Well over a year. And, you know, I put out the video, to me, what a father would be most proud of, celebrating her, the video when I first hired her, because, again, this company, Ancestry Lands, is about, let me let these guys know that they're good, about getting generational wealth, building a business. And again, you got tons of people out here, you know, talking about you can hire your kid, and at 7 years old, you can, your kid can work for you. You know, you see these on all these different podcasts. You can hire your kid. You know, they give you all this information, and I've done live streams about it in the past, but I have yet to see people employing their at age IRS approved that age requirement. I've yet to see people doing it. You know, I see that all the time, and it bothers me so much that we have a world so filled with information and a lack of application. You get what I mean? Got a lot of people out there talking about it, but less people being about it. You know what I mean? People out here telling you what you could do, but they themselves are not doing it. They don't have any skin in the game when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, you know, I thought to myself, hey, well, why not just apply some of those things? Oh, okay, great, thank you. Old brother who don't let somebody in. What a, boy, I would curse on this if my kids didn't watch this stuff. From Jersey too, no less. No problem. Great job. You got one car in front of me. Enjoy yourself, buddy. Any which way. You know, a lot of people are not out there applying it. So when you look and you're getting information from people, you're getting information from people who either got it from secondhand, third hand, they watched it from another video and put it into their content, and now they think it's good content for you. So you got a lot of people just following information, and there's no one actually applying the information. So there's this big separation from people who are the doers and the people who are just watchers. You know, giving you all, they're basically giving you information so that way you can take all the risk. You know, that's a person that's there telling you how to get into college but never actually put in an application, but they got all the school in the game and this and that and all the information in the world, but they yet have passed a class themselves or have enrolled in any kind of, you know, what is that, you know, college academics at all. So, you know, that's one of the things that bothers me. So I took it upon myself to hire my daughter. And a little bit later, once I could make sure she was, you know, got good at it and wanted to stay at doing it, I later hired my son, Philip, whom you all will meet soon too in another video. And what father would not be proud to have been a nurse for almost 20 years and develop a business that I had no degree in. I had no certification. I was a guy who just took a class or a course, if you will, and I started applying what I learned in the course, and then afterwards I started applying more the journey of self-discovery of becoming a true businessman by, you know, the school of hard knocks, learning on my own, buying properties, doing my own research, calling the counties, getting expert advice, getting some legal advice as well, and building a business that I could speak to in any conversation that a person talks to me, no matter where I am in the world, so long as I do not suffer from dementia. And I that was my pride and joy, seeing my daughter and my son being able to be in a business and really, really being Ancestry Lands from one generation to the next. So you can only imagine the heartbreak that I felt when I watched the video go out, you know, and I talked to my daughter. She knew the video was coming. And then I walk in yesterday and my wife is like, hey, she doesn't like the video. Can you take it down? And I'm like, what? You know, and at that age, my daughter's 9 going on 10. You know, girls are shy at that age. You know, they look at the video, it sounds nice, they like it, but they have kind of buyer's remorse. And it's very normal for them to go through that, where they feel that kind of like that regret afterwards on something that they were initially happy about, you know? So, you know, when I saw that, I'm upset because, again, it's about the journey, her initial journey into the world of social media, the world of this business, and she gets a little taste to be in that limelight, which I kept, you know, even though she did that at 8 and she's now 9 going on 10, I kept it away because I did not want to expose my children to that too early. And now I feel that she's ready for it, but she had some reservations. So, you know, one of the things that I did talk to her about, you know, and I said, listen, at first as a parent, I wanted to find out why she was uncomfortable with it, you know, and then I find out later that she's like, well, I don't want to be in every video. And I said, baby, you are, and there are almost 1,200 videos on what is now 76,000 subscribers. You're only in about 2 videos, which is the video you saw there, and the video afterwards I put out the next day where she got her first paycheck. You know, but to a kid, it can be a little bit too much. Sometimes I feel like young girls can work themselves into something that may not be there, you know, and that's exactly what it was, an overinterpretation of what was going to come. She's thinking she's going to be in every video, and I said, hold on there, young girl, that's not coming yet, because I have some things in the future where I do want to get my kids more into the forefront to get them comfortable making videos and exposed in a business kind of way. You know, we have our kids nowadays really being taken advantage of by social media companies because, for one, you think about it, right? TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube. You've got kids making content that they are not always monetized for. They get tons of views, but the hosting platforms are allowed to make tons of ad revenue from the content because of the people that watch those videos. And these young children are posting these videos for free, whether it's silly stuff, a dance move, whatever kind of challenge, or just any kind of videos, and they're not paid for it. But the companies that own these platforms are selling that data in the form of ad placement and ad revenue. They're getting millions of dollars in contracts with through advertising for toy companies or whatever is targeted towards your children to get them to get you to buy something for them, or whatever other media exposure to maybe influencers that they have selected as representatives of where they want to dump their money and invest into their own YouTube or social media platform, the influence that they want to promote. They will direct your child and their followers, use their platform to direct them to an influencer of their choosing. And what it does is they're essentially being used by the platforms they host because they're not monetized for any ad revenue shared up there unless they reach a certain equilibrium in the form of being able to be monetized on whatever the platforms may be. But up until then, they're using your child's content for their benefit. And it's very true. So again, I wanted to get them in a place where they are being paid for it, where they can increasingly be paid for it. And also, it's something that they have ownership of, because Ancestry Lands is a business that is to be inherited. But I had to talk to my daughter about the opportunity that she's going to pass up. Because again, my son is eager to take her place. Eager, very eager. And he's going to be almost 8. He will be the same age at which you all saw that video of her signing that paperwork. And I had to let her know. Now again, the thing about it is that as a father, I understand where she's coming from. And while you do want to respect your child's wishes, I think it is incumbent upon you to understand why they're saying no. Because when it comes to her mother, she's uncomfortable. Don't let her do it. That's the first thing out of their mouth. But when you start to take an approach that in life, you are going to be uncomfortable many times. You're going to be uncomfortable in a game. I'm sure Steph Curry is going to be uncomfortable in many times that we see him performing at a high level. But just because his performance is spectacular, it does not mean that his comfort or anxiety is not through the roof as well. We interpret his greatness to be the same as his calmness and his poise. But inside, we have no idea how Steph Curry feels at any point. So I took that opportunity to talk with my daughter and find out what her issue was. And, you know, a lot of times, at first, everyone is uncomfortable when they're in a new thing. I had to talk to her about my experience in my actual work field in a new modality that's not acute care hospital nursing. Or how it felt when I first did a video or was first interviewed by Don Dario of the Dumb Podcast. Shout out to him. When he interviewed, it's the first interview I ever did. And I was nervous as I don't know what. And I love to talk in front of a camera. I went to college and took public speaking. I do not have a problem being able to, you know, communicate with people at a massive scale. But I do get nervous sometimes because I'm human. I do prepare myself, but sometimes I get lost in what I was saying or the emotion that I got or an applause I got. And it's very different. Even when you're being interviewed, you're trying to remember everything to say. You're trying to make sure that you include everyone. And I was nervous as everything else, even though people would look at it and say, man, he's got the poise of anything else. But again, I too am human. And I had to remind her is that a lot of times, I as your father, you never think that I get scared, but I get scared quite often. I do. I had to tell her how I hate flying. I do not like flying. It's not that I don't like airplanes. I don't like flying in an airplane because I can't see where we're going. I can only see out the window on the side, and I'm terrified of planes. But I flew every month to California to work at the hospital I previously worked at. You all saw the videos. They're on this channel. And I flew there every month, there and back. And I never knew if I was going to land at my destination. I never knew getting on that airplane if I was going to make it back home to see my children for another day. I never knew every time I went on that airplane if I was going to be able to kiss my wife again or tell my children I love you or tell my baby son, Percival, that daddy's here, son. I never knew that. I never knew that, you know, my parents would be able to talk to me again or choose not to talk to me on a certain day because my life was in someone else's hands. Look at this guy over here. You see this car right here, this gold car flying in and out, just speeding up. And you know what's funny? If you ever notice on the highway, I'm going to veer off a little bit, folks. This always grinds my gear. I get super pissed off when I'm driving, when this happens. You always see these people flying in and out of traffic, driving crazy. And let me ask you this. What do you always notice about their cars, right? The people who drive crazy. Do you notice one thing about their cars? Their cars are always damaged or having some kind of, you know, looks like they've already been in an accident. It always looks like, I always see drivers driving in this area or on the way home or on the way to work. I always see them with damaged cars. They always have a fender, a bumper out, a rear view mirror, something else like that. And I know it may not always be them. They may not always be the cause of the accidents, but I gotta wonder how much of that is not true. And they are the direct cause of their accidents. I've gotta just wonder. Because I've seen so many cars banged up, fender bender. Great, just cut right in front of me. Don't worry about it, bro. You'll be all right, right? I'm hoping with that Audi, this lady in front of me who just cut right in front of me, cool. You know, if I decided to speed up at that point or anything else like that, just cut across. I hope you have a good enough insurance See, nobody taking time and looking over. Nobody's waiting until a car clears a space. We just gonna get in front whenever we want. You know, it's always people like this truck right here. I don't know if it's them. He ain't got no signal light on. He just gonna get, oh, look at this right here. No signal light, whatever else. Again, here's my point. I just called it. Look at this truck. Big old dent in the back. I just talked about this. No signal light. Flashing lights, but no signal light. Instead of putting a signal light on and let somebody know he wanted to get over, he just gonna pull over. Just gonna veer right in there. He put a signal light on, maybe the lady would have gotten over there. Maybe you will see an accident on this video before I get and turn it off. Who knows? But any which way, you know, that is a fear that I had to face, because the opportunity to be able to work and provide for my family, going back to what I'm saying, folks, getting back to where I'm at. I'm not going to get too off on here and hot-headed. But again, going back to California, getting in a plane, doing something I'm terrified to do. And most people were surprised that I was scared to fly in a plane, because I fly in a plane every month. Because again, what I was promised on the other side of that, working at the hospital and continuing my employment till I got to the point where I could work locally, that was greater than leading by my fear. Now, I'm dropping tons of jewels on you guys, but again, I wasn't going to let my fear lead me in life. And that was something I had to impart upon my daughter. That's something that I'm imparting upon to you in the videos here, is that you cannot let your fears lead you in life when it comes to taking advantage of opportunities. Look at this right here. I mean, God, Jesus. And they got a lawn company. What are y'all, landscaping, huh? Can't fix that truck, but they definitely can fix your yard. Look at it right over here to the left, coming up right here, this truck. Yep, landscaping company. Got a dent on the back right wheel. Too as well. Truck lopsided in the mud. Any which way, you should never let your fears lead you in life. You cannot be led by fear. Being led by fear is being led by an emotion. And you cannot let an emotion lead you when you're making a decision. You have to have a sound mind to understand what is beyond the opportunity that you say yes or no to. I believe it was Julius Caesar who said, or Alexander the Great, I do believe, no, it was Julius Caesar. He said, opportunities will multiply to those that seize them. I'm going to say that again for you. Opportunities multiply for those that will seize those opportunities, meaning that when you take opportunities, more doors will open from you taking advantage of opportunities presented to you than ones that you pass up and never take. When you take the opportunity to go to a college further away than your hometown, you have an opportunity to see a place, visit other places, connect with other people that are beyond your neighborhood, that are beyond your initial network. This is why networking in business is so important. It's a paramount to your survival. And these are the things I'm trying to always teach you. But again, it needs to be instructed with my daughter. Now, again, as a parent, we always want to protect our children. But again, you cannot protect them against life and what life has coming for them. You have to teach them how to navigate life as it comes to them, because life is very unfair. And it doesn't care. Life can be cruel to an evil person and a good person at the same time in the same way, for no rhyme or reason. But everybody thinks that life is supposed to be fair. Where does it say that when you're born, life is supposed to be fair? It is not. There are babies who get cancer, and I've taken care of them. And there are people who are on the end of their life and never get cancer, yet smoke a cigarette every day of their life. Life is a cruel and unknowing being that takes what it wants, when it wants, how it wants, where it wants, and there's not a damn thing anyone can say about it. You can't plead, you can't do anything else other than become its chosen one at that time. And it doesn't care if you're a baby or an elderly woman or a father who just had a child or a man who just won the lottery. It will take you when it takes you. So again, I say to you is that I had to teach my daughter that her decision to pass up this opportunity, she needed time to reflect on it. She needed time to think about what she was going to do in passing up this opportunity. What the freak? On the left here, folks, is this big old Hemi here. This guy has a massive truck. He ain't got like a little compact car, but he's determined to get over on the side of the road here to get ahead, and he's got a Hemi truck here. Ridiculous. And he's smiling about it, him and his friends there. Any which way. So I wanted her first, once I listened to what, her particular issue was, I said to her, I said, baby, listen, I hear you. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to think about this for the next day. Because again, if you say no to this video now, I've got to treat you like an employee now, okay? This is a position that has to be filled. Your brother wants this position, but you can't wait until he's successful to say, now I want that opportunity. Because again, you're now being offered it before it becomes the opportunity. That's what we want in life. We want everything when we're ready. And life rarely gives you an opportunity when you're ready. Now everybody's, I'm gonna do this when I have all the money saved up. The next thing you know, your car breaks down. That's what we always do. I'm gonna save up all this money and then I'm going to do this. Well, again, life rarely gives you the opportunity when you are prepared for it. It will most likely come when you are not prepared or not ready, and you have to take a thing called risk. You're going to have to take some risk in life, because if you're waiting for everything to happen when you're ready, it'll never happen, or rarely will happen. And most people do not understand that about life, and that's why it is opportunities multiply to those who would seize them. And I had explained that to my daughter. I said, listen, I'm going to give you this opportunity as my child, because I am your father, because of who you know. You have the luxury of refusing the opportunity first. Anybody who knows me, I will come to you about any idea, any business venture. I do with everyone in my inner circles. If you're a part of my inner circle, you get access to my network, you get access to my ideas, you get access to my properties, you get access to what I do before I get going. And that's an opportunity for everyone. You get opportunities to invest in what I'm doing, and you also get opportunities for me to invest in what you're doing. That happens first with me. Once you refuse it, it goes outside into the world. Just like any job, right? Most jobs offer positions internally first, and if they're not filled, they go externally to find that position. It's the same way within my company. And you've got to treat your children this exact way. Now, you may not want to, it hurts. But again, what's going to happen when life gives it to them and they experience this catastrophic failure because you've given them always chances to make up, where life will give them chances to choose just once? Your kindness is actually a cruelty, because again, you're being unrealistic or teaching them unrealistic expectations. And again, it's the parent's responsibility to give them instruction and education on what they're going to be prepared for when they get older. The world they're going to really live in. And now you don't have to fight with just another human being. You got to fight with AI on top of that. And again, if you think as a parent, you're going to try to use what you knew, what life you lived, to say that's going to be the world that your children are going to go, you got another thing coming. I'll ask anybody who's my age in the 40s, how long did we go from cassette tapes to actually cell phones where you can play music on your phone? Right? Before, you used to have to get a cord, you got to do all this manual stuff. Here, most of the phones, we now do not have dials on our phones anymore. The only place you may have a dial on a phone is your actual home phone until they get rid of that. And I'm sure they got newer phones in that way. But my old behind, I got a phone, you got to push a button and push some numbers and everything's done that way. But again, most phones that we own now, they're smaller And touchscreen is a standard. It's no longer a new function. Every phone has a touchscreen now. And that's just within the 40 years of technology that I've experienced on the world. When I was like 10 or 11, and 30 years ago, we were still in pagers, if anyone knows what that means. And look how fast the technology has moved. And in our lifetime, we went from pagers to AI in just 40 years. Just think about that technology for a second. Pagers to AI. Any 80s based movie, you'll see payphones. Yes, payphones. You had to put a quarter in to dial a number, and now you got AI. So again, tell me in 40 years what it's going to be like for your children growing and having a family when they've got to compete against something that does not sleep. So again, when she is faced with an opportunity, and that video did very well. If you see it, guess who's joining Ancestry Lands? It came out a few days ago. In February, February 19th. That video came out. 18th and 19th. Go back and go watch that video. There's two of them, actually, 18th and 19th. And the other video is titled Her First Payday. And you can see the application of things people only talk about. And yes, you are allowed to hire your children if they are above 7 years old into your business and give them a suitable wage for the position that they have. You can't go and pay them $1 million to color. You got to have them actually doing real work, and it's got to be a position that actually could be payable. And to me, it's a growth position. But at the same time, she thought she was going to get by with it just being my daddy's company, and she couldn't be wrong. More wrong. So I treated her like she was an employee, and I let her know there will be another girl in that video that will get passed down, whether it's your friend, whether it's your sibling, your brother, whether it's whoever it will be, but that position will be filled. It is not reserved for you. You were given the first right of refusal, but it was not a position that we're going to wait for you to accept. We're going to move on to the next candidate. And no more than when I said that, her brother jumped up and said, I'll do it, I'll do it. He's chomping at the bits to be in front of the camera with his goofy self. The son is very playful, he's got a beautiful smile, and he lights up her room. So she's got a choice to make. And later on, all the benefits that come from being in that position, she's got to be okay with passing that up. And now that's a hard thing to sit down and tell your daughter. Very hard. You got to be a strong man to be able to tell your daughter that. A 9-year-old, to tell her that she has to have sight beyond sight. She's got to have sight beyond what she can see to understand she's going to miss out on what she can't see today. But again, it comes with the parent talking to the child and letting them know that this is going to potentially happen. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, it's okay. Our relationship's not going to change because you're not going to do this. I'm not going to withhold anything from you. You're not going to lose your job. But again, when we do not need your position anymore, your position can be outsourced just like everything else. This position was offered to you to give you an opportunity to earn income, but it is not done to make sure that you have money in your pocket because I have to. I'm doing it because I want to. I want to train you. I want to educate you. I want you to grow in the business and have a way to make money outside of the degree in a competitive world that you have now AI working against you. Because they're going to take away opportunities that's going to make it more competitive for whatever's left over that you are going to have to compete for. Yes, folks, the human work will be even more competitive. It's going to require more for you to get into those same jobs just to make a living, to be able to survive and say, hey, I'm broke. Yeah, that broke. Not poor, just broke. There's a difference between being poor and broke. And I talked to her about it. I explained to her that Later on, when she sees this position potentially being more successful, when the person's making more money than her, the same will happen in life if she passes up opportunity. This can be a beautiful learning experience for her if she chooses to pass it up. But one thing I asked her to do was think about it and wait till the next day. I was talking with my mother earlier, and I told her, I said, a lot of times when I go in the store, I want to buy something, a new car, I want to buy a property or whatever else, I always wait till the next day to make sure I really want to purchase that property, or make sure I really want to buy that item, make sure I really want to buy that pair of clothes, that jeans, those shoes. Because if I sleep on it and I let my emotions run their current course and dissipate, if I still want that property, if I still want that pair of jeans, if I still want that pair of shoes, after I've slept an entire day and I wake up in the morning and I say, man, I really want, then I know I'm not buying or making a decision off impulse. I'm not making a decision off my emotions at the time. I'm making a decision off, I have something that is still urging me or telling me that, hey, this is a good decision, a sound decision. So again, I say to you, and I said to her the same thing, is that sleep on it. If tomorrow you still want to buy, okay, cool. Tomorrow you still want the video up, let me know. And we're gonna, when I get home, I'll find out what she's decided. But it'll be her choice. I gave her a hug and I left it at that. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is that, again, it is incumbent upon us parents to teach our children the world they're going to live in, not the world we want it to be. And for my daughter, I wanted to always make sure that she understood that I gave her the option to say no. Not that she was never given the option to choose. And I apologize again for the sun. I swear the sun, no matter where I go, the sun's going to be in my eye. Because again, if she does not, and again, it's not that she has to do Ancestry Lands. She doesn't have to do that. None of my children do. They don't have to take this company in one day in the future. They don't have to. That doesn't matter. But the whole point is that the skills to learn to be able to do things on your own, to experience how to take advantage of opportunities, experience to make money, that lesson can be repeated over and over again in modalities such as this, her being doing the accounts receivable. And all she's doing is basically doing the checkbook for Ancestry Land and paper documents. The CPA does take care of the submitting documents to the IRS, but again, having paper documents in case electronic ones, she's doing the backup system that I have. And $50 a month is a small thing to pay her to give her purchasing power, to teach her the power of money and how it's a tool before so she can use money and money cannot be using her. So she's used to making money, used to buying things, so she can get past the thrill of the buy, because she's been doing it for a long time. So now she learns to use money more wisely 10 years from now when she's going to be 20 years old. You see how it does? You're training them through application. Not conversation, through application. Because I've said it before, children will always watch what you do rather than what you say. So when they're doing certain things, they're going to remember that more often than they do when you say. Think about what you remember about with your parents. You might remember some things your parents said to you, but you're going to remember a lot more things that they've done to you, with you, or for you, or without you. You're gonna miss you're gonna remember when your parents miss something. Let a parent miss a birthday, see if a child forgets. They'll never forget it. They won't. So I say to you again, your children are going to respond and remember what you do rather than what you say. So these are lessons that I'm doing with my children, and I encourage any business owner, if your children are above 7, get the paperwork together. Don't just hire them and get real paperwork, because you want them, like I did in my video, get them reading an actual contract that they have to sign. Get them to understand that and treat them like they are your employees fairly. But you got to make sure that they understand that you're dealing with them in a modality of a business aspect. When I make certain moves like sponsoring my child's baseball team or softball team, they're getting an understanding of things that you need to do in the business world, because I learned that by watching other business companies that are sponsored. They sponsor the NBA Finals, and I'm looking at why do they sponsor it? For brand recognition, the same thing that I talk to you all about every single day. So I'm learning from other businesses and teaching my child the practices, what I see other businesses doing, not what they say. I'm not watching the sponsorship. I'm seeing the action of sponsorship and following it. Success leaves clues. And when you see the clues, you follow them. You ain't got to be Scooby-Doo to understand how to solve a mystery. All you got to do is follow the clues. And you too can solve mysteries by following clues. You want to be successful? You follow the clues of people who are doing successful things that you want to accomplish or you want the outcome for. You network with people who are successful to give you insight, because those are the times when you need to listen to what people have to say, because you've been watching what they do. So again, folks, we'll see what she decides, and I'm glad to share this with you all, because again, I'm so happy this happened. And to my daughter, I thank you so much, because it taught me again that sometimes I want more for my children than they may sometimes want for themselves, and I got to be okay with that. And you got a lot of parents out here, oh, I ain't talking to them because they ain't do what I said. They ain't go to the college I wanted to go to. That's not what they need from us. Children need your understanding and your support, even when you disagree with them. Now, unless they're doing something like, something hardcore that's detrimental, but sometimes life is meant to be experienced rather than just taught how to live a life. Some people want to actually feel what it's like to fail sometimes, or to learn. Some people need to fail in order to learn, and others just need to know how to succeed. And everyone's different. But the thing is, you can't treat the person that wants to know how to succeed different from the person that sometimes needs to fail in order to succeed, because sometimes the person that has succeeded failed a lot. And you just don't shun and throw those people away because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. And then when they do fail from your advice, you walk away from them in the end all be all. You coward. Just because you think you know better does not mean it's going to be better for them. As a parent, your job is to support your children, to teach them that life will bring them success and failure, and that you got their back. Yeah, they may not choose to do the things you say, but again, they are their own individual being, and even a child deserves some level of respect to honor the decisions that they make. Because when are you going to stop treating them like they're a child and respect them for the person that they are? A child is still a person. They still have a mind. They still have feelings. They still could say no. They can say they don't want things. And your job as a parent is not to be a dictator, but an administrator and a facilitator to them becoming a well-balanced and contributing adult to society. And somewhere along the line, y'all might just be cool and they may make you happy in that. But it is not a master-slave contract that you're creating. You're their parent. Sometimes it is what you say, but you have to be fair with what you say. And you got to realize that you too can be wrong. You don't want to push your children into things that they don't want. And sometimes you want to let them know that, hey, you got to get pushed a little bit. But give them the ability to say, hey, okay, you pushed me a little bit. I still say no. Okay, cool. Now we know you don't want to do it. But I'd rather you be averse than avoid. I don't want you to avoid. I'd rather you be adverse. There's a difference. Avoiding is like, I'm not going to do anything new. Adverse is like, I don't want to do anything new that might harm me. So I'm willing to try something until I figure out whether it's harmful or not. And even then, I may not want to do it even if it is beneficial. That I can deal with. Because that's an open mind. And that's what you need to be successful in life. Because again, opportunities will multiply to those that have an open mind to receive them. Again, folks, I hope you have been educated, enlightened. That is our video for today. Thank you for driving with me. It's actually looking like spring is going to come a little early here, folks. Leave a comment below and tell me what you thought about this video. Have you experienced this with your children? Has this video given you any insight on how a situation you might have dealt with your children? Have you thought maybe a little differently about something that happened that you've experienced with your children? If you're looking for information on where I was talking about your children working for you, I've done other live streams and other videos talking about the IRS code. I've gone on the irs.gov site where you can actually do that, because again, as a nurse, I go and look for the documentation. I don't go look for people's conversation about stuff. I want to make sure I'm in line with what is supposed to be right, not someone just telling me because it sounds like a good video to make. I've done that. It's on irs.gov. You can look at it. There are limitations because most videos will never tell you that. There are restrictions on what you can do. And I talk about those in my videos. But you talked about looking at a person that does it. Doesn't just talk about it, actually walk the walk when I talk the talk. Any which way, folks, don't forget, do me a favor, like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't. These videos will help you, folks. It will help you prevent you from failing. It will help you overcome failures, and it will help you to become success if you have failed. My book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, is on Amazon. A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing by yours truly, Philip Davis. Again, I didn't just invest in land. I didn't just sell people land. I just didn't help enrich people's life. I also went back to bring the knowledge I have forward to get people to understand, here's my book. So again, folks, I'm a person that builds on that knowledge. I'm your host, Philip Davis. I'm your host, Philip Davis. Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Go on my website, get yourself a property, folks. $1,000 down in most cases, $200, $250 a month, sometimes $300 depending on the properties. Get yourself land to own, to leverage, all right? Start building up a portfolio of land. Have something to leverage in life. Stop looking at things as you can't own anything. Yes, you can. All right? I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and entertained. I'm your host, Philip Davis. Peace, and I'm out.